Have a poetic background? Do you have someone in your family that does poetry that maybe you looked at them and felt, I also want to do this?
No, but I think from my mother's side, they are readers and they are writers. Yeah, I can't say I've ever really wanted to be a writer. No, like everyone else, I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be, those things zenye unaambiwa, this will give you money. I wanted to work in a bank. I wanted to work in those places where you wear something official and look nice and, Yeah, so even when I went to do my degree, I went for pure science. As much as I knew I loved reading, I didn't know I loved writing. Honestly, I cannot even say there is a specific moment when I realized, you can write. But for a long time, I used to write these little pieces. I think when I was in high school, I wrote something for a friend when I had a poem. And then she's like, oh, you did that. You can be good. So even after high school, I did not really think I can be a poet. Then in campus, we had this Composed magazine and we were writing stuff in it. Then I felt like, nikama lines zangu zina flow. Then I started writing there, kidogo too. But then life, times I got life in a become, when you are in campus, hapo I think ndio life inaanza kukugonga kidogo. So when I was down, nikajipata I am writing. Yeah. Actually, people say I'm a happy person, but I'm very sad writer. So when I am sad, I write. Sad, sad. Mm-hmm. But my cousins, they write. I think they are following in my footsteps. The ones from my mother's side, they love reading, they love writing. So I think iko kwa damu, I may be the first one, but iko.
Great. When I was growing up, I am a soldier's daughter. When I was growing up, what was there for us was a lot of fun. When you're living in the camps, and then maybe Friday evening, the parents are going out and the kids are taken somewhere to play. That was kind of my life. Can you tell me how your childhood was, and did it shape your thought about being a poet?
My childhood, it was filled with books. Okay, not the books my parents could afford. They couldn't actually, although they tried so much to provide a good education for us. But I tried getting as many books, as many magazines as I could. I could read my grandfather was a teacher. I could read his books, so his old books zilikuwa kwa store, those old books zenye hata make sense. I even read The Trouble with Nigeria, honestly. And magazines, old magazines, I used to read everything. And so my childhood, Nezasema, it was filled with so many books. Yeah, like anything I could learn my hands on, it was filled with so many books.
Just a quick one. While you were reading those books, did you ever think that someday I'm going to do something like this, maybe write like these books I'm reading?
Writing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to say, someday they'll know my story. Growing up in a poor background, you always want to make it in life. When you see the planes flying overhead, you feel like, no, one day I can write that. I can write that. Like, someone is doing it, so I can do it. Someone is writing this, so I can write that. Yeah, so I used to say, I'm never sure about anything. Like, I'm so confused about so many things. My friends can tell you that. Mimi niko very confused about so many things. I don't know. How the society wants something from you. And there's so many things. You are never sure which path to follow. But I always knew I will write. I will write someday. I didn't know it will come this soon. But I always knew I will write. Yeah.
Do you find writing easy?
Very easy. Very easy. Like, I did pure science. And as much as I passed, it was a real struggle for me. Yeah, but yeah, but writing, I can write like anywhere, anytime.
All right. So, in your childhood, you read a lot.
Yeah.
Did you read poetry? This is yes or no. Did you read poetry?
I read everything. Yeah, but so I don't know. Like
I'm talking about poetry particularly.
No.
Okay. So, are there poets from old that you are your favorite? You have favorite poets?
Yeah.
Name some.
Robert Frost. Yeah, and this day was written Eve, the poem Eve. His name imepotea. Yeah, but those poems, Medika, like I came across two parts, I didn't know which one to follow, or if you do this, you become a man. Rudyard Kipling. And yeah.
Any from around?
From around. The one who wrote the song of Lawino. Yes, that one.
Contemporary poets? Any?
Mufasa.
Okay.
And
now,
then there is Anyango, of course.
Forget that. What part of Beautiful Mess, what part did you find difficult to write?
About, it's so hard to say you are hurting or you are ashamed of something or, yeah, I think that was difficult.
Okay. I have read this book. I have read Beautiful Mess. I understand it. I know everything you're talking about inside there, and you know that, right?
Yeah.
What is it that you're not saying? Apart from this writing, what is it that you're not telling us? What is it that you are hiding, but you've given us this book? What is it you're not talking about here?
I think what I'm not talking about is it is not always a beautiful mess. Sometimes it's just a mess. Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes it is just a mess. Is it a mess that you can own? Is it a mess that you can stand up and say before people that, I did this, it turned out like this, but I'm glad I'm alive?
Yes.
Great. Now, tell us something about your journey through publishing.
I wish he was here, my editor. Actually, he's the one who pushed me to write. He used to tell me, his name is Eugene. We met at a FHOK. There's an app called FHOK where you can read stuff. And it was an event held by Zion Publishers. So nothing much ever came out of it, but I met that guy who later ventured into writing. Yeah, so when he saw, like, I have so many pieces, akaniambia, what are you waiting for? Like, these are enough to make a book. You should start collecting them from all the places where they are. Most of my poems are, okay, a little are in hard copy, but most of them are in my phone because, I walk around with my phone more. Yeah, so I started collecting them from my laptop, from my phone, from my notebooks. Yeah, trying to put them together, but it has not been an easy journey. I think the support I had and him pushing me every day, I am waiting for the collection, you have not made this, I think that helped, having someone who really wants that for you and pushing you to do it. Unajua ukipewa time, you can even take 10 years collecting them. Yeah, so I think that helped.
Did you at one point feel like you were being played or your work was getting delayed? Did you feel disappointed at some point?
Yeah. No, it can never be perfect. you know. Sometimes the editor is working on the manuscript and you feel like, you know, you should have sent this last week. Then a week later nakwambia, oh, hata ilipotea. Niliweka canvas, I was editing, nilikuwa 75% and I lost everything. You know, now you have to start from zero. Yeah, kulikuwa na hizo moments. And sometimes hata nothing can be perfect. Kuna ile, the font is not right, the pages are not aligned. Like, it's a lot of work.
Okay. When I was writing my book, Peaches and Cream, I had a number of poems were talking about pain and frustrations. And I think that time I did an interview for that book, I swore never to write poetry again. So I'm pushing this to you. Are you going to write more poetry? Should we expect another book, and how soon?
Okay, I don't know about the how soon, but there'll be more. Like, writing is not something you can just stop. Yeah. Like, you have this strong feeling to put down something, like, unless you write it, you cannot move on. So I write more poetry and more stories.
Okay. The last one, maybe. What advice can you give someone who wants to write poetry? I know there are a number here who want to do what you've just done.
Mm-hmm.
What can you tell them? What advice can you give them?
Just start. It may feel like it is not enough. It may feel like you are inadequate, but just start. Yeah. Once you start, it can be done. Like, look at what the rest have done. They may not have a big name like you. I don't think I have big name, but you can do it. Yeah.
Thank you very much for this session. Actually, Scholar and I have decided to bring you another poetry book.
Yeah.